I have received two other relevant questions, and that for Dr. Anas Ansar. First question I want to pick from Nokshi Tabassum. She is a young generation anchor, television personality. She says, a very good afternoon to all of the distinguished host and guest. For today, the concept crossed my mind that what role can young people or leaders play in promoting peace internationally? Also, are today's conflicts harder to resolve than those in the past? Why or why not? Please enlighten us. I think she has done a very important question. Nokshi Tabassum, thank you very much for joining us.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nokshi. Thank you for the question in particular. So I want to pick the youth from you question, right? The potential in youth. I think the country where we are sitting now is the classic example that like what the young generation can do, right? But then again, it's a long journey. It's a journey that comes with a lot of sacrifices, challenges that we have been witnessing and we have been undergoing. So the question, the first part of your question, whether the challenges are much more complex than the previous time, I would say yes, because the amount of crisis is also a lot these days. The severity of the crisis is also quite extensive. Plus, I think what is important here is I think we are living in a period of time where we see a declining international order, where we have been witnessing the declining role of United Nations, where we are seeing there are less and less international cooperation, there are less and less trust among the states, and the bipolar world that we have seen after the fall of the Soviet Union, that's no more there. So there are many powerful states, there are many powerful blocs. So there are many actors which are part of this battle, and finding a solution that caters to all these actors is also very challenging. But on the second part, I think there we see some rays of hope, the young generation. Let me take the example of Israel-Palestine conflict, right? You will see, despite the rigid positioning of the United States and many Western powers, you will see this brave young generations in American universities, in American streets, in the avenues of Washington DC, in front of White House, in Berlin, Paris, mass demonstration led by the young generation. So they are simply rejecting this old guard's policy of othering. So that's sort of where I see kind of the potential for the new generation, for young generation to come forward and bring the solution and kind of aspire for a world.
Can a consistent United States foreign policy be sustained across conflicts and administrations both?
Well, thank you. But I respond to this by asking another question, the question on the consistency. Is US foreign policy consistent?
Not at all.
Right? So exactly that's where the response is probably. So I would like to divide this answer into two parts. I mean, one is of course US foreign policy when it comes to Israel, right? So irrespective of political spectrum, be it a Democratic president, be it a Republican president, we have seen a steadfast pro-Israeli foreign policy in the US governments. So that's something we do not see sort of shaken in the recent history.
So Washington's two kind of foreign policy, one for the rest of the world and a special one for the Israel. Sir, I'm very curious to request you to continue this.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's unfortunate, right, that we see that discrepancy in US foreign policy, of course. So when it comes to, as I said, when it comes to Israel, we have seen kind of a steadfast pro-Israeli interest being served by the US foreign policy makers and the policy actors in White House or in the Department of State. But when it comes to, let's say, when it comes to the rest of the world, even within the Western hemisphere, for example, in the context of Europe, we have seen a very different genre of US foreign policy engagement. During the time of President Biden, we have seen a very extensive cooperation between the United States and European Union. But under the current administration, we see rather a different scenario where we are seeing not the leaders from the European Union in particular, but the leaders from the Eastern European bloc, where there is a history of authoritarianism, there is a history of suppressing democracy, there is a history of suppressing human rights of minorities, are kind of become the kind of the darlings, if I may use that word, for the president who is running the US administration at this moment, particularly the Hungarian President Orban, Italian Prime Minister Meloni, becomes sort of the key actors in engaging with the European Union, ignoring the traditional allies such as France, such as Germany, right? So the President Macron, with whom the former President Biden shared a very warm relation, or the former German Chancellor, particularly the former Chancellor Angela Merkel, who was kind of very strong partner in US international foreign policy framework, are somehow sidelined in the recent US engagement. So you can see those developments, and also particularly probably it's important to also point out the Russia case. We haven't really seen any direct involvement of the former US President Joe Biden in terms of negotiation with Russia to find a solution for the Ukraine war. But President Trump, with his very unorthodox policy, he came to Europe, met the Russian president in Finland, and what we have seen via international media, that was rather a very warm relation, a friendship, sort of a bonhomie, if I may use that
word.
Very
fascinating observation. I really have many things learned from you. I just want to do one question, that 100 years back we have seen battle in the battlefield. Now we see battle in the battlefield, more battle in the media, and extremely ugly battle in the social media. As a professor of political science, you understand war, conflicts, negotiation, geopolitical issues. Would you mind to explain us which battle is more ugly for the sake of the humanity? Is this social media battle, or mainstream media battle, or battle in the battlefield?
Well,
I know this is a very diplomatic question.
The question probably leads to how do we read the consequence of that battle, right? For example, when it comes to the battlefield confrontation, for example, let's take the example of Ukraine war, or the Palestine, or the genocide in Gaza, the Israel-Palestine conflict. We are doing nothing but counting the dead bodies every day, right? So there is a clear human death tolls,
and seeing the destroying of the civilization.
Exactly. But how that transform in virtual space, the social media space, it's kind of very complex in nature. How do we read the battle on social media, because it also leads to the question of who controls social media, which information you are allowed to see, which video of atrocities you are allowed to watch, because there is all those censorship which are also controlled by certain sections of the world. For example, these major conglomerates, the main corporates who are running the social media industries, these are all sort of centered in a particular country,